Welcome to another edition of News Bites here on Daily World Television. My name is Kal Korff and I'm your host. American President Donald Trump has scheduled a meeting at the White House with Palestinian National Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, who is in the 11th year of his 4-year term in office. When the two leaders meet, they are going to try to restart the so-called two-state peace process between the Jewish state of Israel and, of course, the Palestinian National Authority. There are several outstanding issues, though, that need to be solved realistically before any chance of peace is possible. Let me summarize them very briefly. Abbas will insist that Israel redraw its borders back to the 1967 border lines before the Palestinians and the Jordanians and Arabs lost the 1967 war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that that's not possible because if they were to do that, he calls the issue a non-starter, then parts of Israel's border width would be less than 10 miles in length, which is about the distance that a homemade Hamas rocket can travel. Netanyahu has stressed that security is the first priority for Israel, and its borders exist the way they do to help give it a buffer zone and a safety zone from homemade rockets. Hamas has fired thousands of them at innocent civilians over the years. A second issue is who speaks for the Palestinians. Depends on who you ask. There are two Palestinian entities. One is in Gaza Strip, which is effectively ruled by Hamas, the terrorist group. They're the military wing of the so-called peaceful Muslim Brotherhood. Then there is the Palestinian National Authority, which used to have control of Gaza until it lost an election and then was overthrown in a violent coup that resulted in the death of some 650 of its personnel, courtesy of the terrorist group Hamas. This leaves the Palestinian National Authority controlling only the West Bank. The problem for the PNA is that there is no viable successor to Abbas. He has never allowed that to happen. In fact, it seems, one can argue, that he doesn't really care about the issue of who his successor will be. So when he is no longer in office, there will be a power vacuum because the Palestinians have never bothered to have a viable succession plan in order. And Hamas has made no secret of the fact that once Abbas is out of the picture, they intend to seize the rest of the Palestinian territory, which would give them effective control of the West Bank. So these are just a few of the issues that need to be talked about between Trump and Abbas. The problem is that there is no realistic hope nor expectation for any breakthrough to happen anytime soon. Abbas has also said that he will never recognize any Jews in a Palestinian state. In fact, he has gone so far as to say that he doesn't want any in any future Palestinian state. Can you imagine the outrage that would exist, justifiably so, if Israel were to say that no Palestinians would be welcomed in a Jewish state? The last issue that the two leaders will discuss is Donald Trump's promise to move the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Abbas opposes that move because he claims that Palestine and its capital are Jerusalem. Let's ignore the fact that historically it has been the capital of Judea or Israel for over 3,000 years.